What's up, everybody? Drasko here from 10knorm.com, where my main focus, the main thing that we do together, is we help coaches in consistently hitting that 10K per month mark, break through the emotional, break through the mindset challenges that hold them back from normalizing that level of income before we handle the marketing tactics to stabilize that level of income. And for every single episode that we do have on here, there is an accompanying bonuses, worksheets, question prompts, all of the notes that I go through in each episode. You can download all of those at 10knorm.com so that you can work through in more detail everything that we go through in every single episode. In addition to that, for this particular episode, there's also going to be a bonus training that is available on 10knorm.com. So without further ado, what we're looking at today is what does stabilizing at 10K norm income actually look like for a coach. So in the last episode, we basically handled, okay, what does it mean to actually normalize it? Today, we're going to look at what does it mean to stabilize. If you want to look through that older episode, you can look through at that. Otherwise, I will give you a small preview of that. But basically, normalizing the 10K per month income for coaches means playing the right game to think, feel, and act consistently so that 10K months become something that is normal, right? It's a normalization of what we think, feel, and do every single day that makes that level of income possible. So basically what it comes down to is, how do I handle myself in the face of becoming the coach who expects that level of income as normal? So it's the normalizing is the personal growth that is needed to actually make the stabilizing tactics work. Okay, it's in some ways it's the inner game, right? So we start this definition with playing the right game, because oftentimes we'll get into these loops where we'll play the external game, right? I have to start a podcast. I have to post on Instagram 5 times a day. I have to do YouTube videos. I have to do lives. Those may or may not be true, right? As one of the people that I follow quite a bit, Nick Peterson, says it depends. So it depends on what your natural disposition is. It depends on what assets you already have. It depends on what you like doing. And it depends on your level of ability to actually work with yourself to normalize that level of income. So we spoke about the basics of that in the last episode. I'm going to go more deeper into those topics as this channel continues to evolve. But today specifically, and by the way, I'm following these notes on my screen right now, so you can look this up, 10K Norm on YouTube, and you can also download the actual notes and add your own to it on 10knorm.com. So what I'm looking at right now is the stabilizing aspect. Okay, so what is the definition of that? So the way that I see stabilizing 10K incomes for coaches is being rooted in the reality of the objective results that we get from our actions, okay, and then continuing to work through the drama that gets in the way, like when we do those things, and then refining the path to be most aligned with our own version and vision of 10K months, okay? So there's a few different aspects here, right? Rooted in reality of results, so not judgments, hopes, dreams, conjure, false thoughts, inner critics, right? So not things that we think about, not things outside of our control, but rooted in objective aspects of reality. And it doesn't mean defined by, right? So it's not, okay, well, I'm not at 10K per month now, therefore, I can't stabilize this. Not at all. It's accepting what is objectively here, being rooted in that. And we do that by looking at what are the results of our actions, right? Because as we'll get into future episodes, meditating and visualizing is an action, but it's likely not the only action you're ever going to need. And especially it's an action that could actually be a distraction from the things you actually need to work on. And we'll get into that in more depth if you follow this channel. So be sure to subscribe. Shameless plug there. And the other aspect of stabilizing, right? So rooted in reality, continuing to work through the drama that gets in the way. Okay, so you got the objective piece that's like, hey, this is what is actually showing up when I do A, B, and C. I get X, Y, and Z. There's drama that comes up with that. Okay, so that is now going back to the normalizing aspect, my ability, my skill set to work through the thought aspects, the emotional aspects of what that all means, essentially the stories and my feelings around those stories. I gotta have the skill set, right? So it's not a character trait to be able to overcome things. It is a skill set that's built, and we're gonna go into all the details of how to do that, and that's in the 10K Norm program. But you got to work through that drama. They're two separate things, but intricately related. Okay. And then there's the aspect of refining the path to be most aligned with your version of 10K Norm months or 10K months. So every single version of 10K months isn't the same, and it shouldn't be the same because you're not the same coach as another coach. Your lifestyle needs and wants and visions are different than mine and somebody else's coach. So why should you make 10K per month in one particular way, right? Stabilizing means aligning your version of that to what it is you actually want. So maybe for you, that means I don't like working with one-on-one clients, and I also don't like doing small groups, right? Like to have kind of like cohorts or whatever, like little groups that you work with on a regular basis. Like I just want to show up, say what I need to say, answer the questions that I need to answer, and leave. Great. Like maybe your version of 10K months is having, more of a mass membership where everybody just, gets charged $50 a month and whatever you need, 2,000 people to do it, or 200 people, whatever the math works out to. Right? Maybe that's all you need, right? Maybe you love working with one-on-one clients. So then you just need either 5 clients at 2K a piece per month or 2 clients at 5K a piece, right? Like if you want to really dive deep with the individual, that could potentially be the thing. So I'm not dogmatic in how I believe you should make your money. Okay? When all you have is a hammer, everything begins to look like a nail. When you go to the barber and ask them, do I need a haircut? They're always going to say yes. What I mean by this is if you are looking for guidance on how to do something, it doesn't necessarily mean you should blindly model what somebody is doing. If they've done what you want to do, and that assumes that you are clear on what it is you actually want to have and be, then yeah, you should model that while also assuming your own twist to it. Okay, so stabilizing in many ways is actually getting to the root of what it is that you want, how it is that you manage and self-regulate yourself, and then refining the path to get there. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So stabilizing has a passive element and an active element. So the passive element is, what you'll oftentimes do in workshops where, they're kind of more inner focused, right? Spiritual type workshops, self-development type workshops, but it's getting clear on really 2 questions. Like, what is it that I want? And the acceptance of where am I at right now, right? That will give you clarity on the most aligned next steps. This is very much a process of kind of like using your higher brain to really sit down, get honest, get clear, and make the space to like dive in without the distractions of the day-to-day. And like, what is it that I actually want to do? Okay. So that's the passive element, meaning you don't always go this deep on day-to-day things as you're going through this. Okay. The second part of this is recognizing and planning how to close the gap in the most efficient way possible. So once you know what you really want, and here's the other part about this, it's like part of normalizing, what we spoke about on the last episode, and part of stabilizing, and that's the next active element, is continuous refinement, right? Like it is okay for you to change your mind. It is okay for you to need more clarity as things change. It is okay for you. This is why we talked about being rooted in reality. When I do something, I get a particular result. And even if it's what I thought I wanted, I realize I don't want it anymore, then that's fine. Like you can refine and change. It's one of the beautiful things about being your own boss and being your own entrepreneur and being your own coach, because you do get to make those choices. Somebody else doesn't make them for you. It also comes with the contrast of now having to manage your way through that, which is a big part of normalizing. But stabilizing is being rooted in that reality of what results your actions get you. So planning for the things that you want, planning for closing the gap, making a strategy around that to get it in the most efficient way possible, is certainly a part of the passive element of doing all of this. Okay. Also recognize that planning on how to close the gap in the most efficient way possible. And this is something that, I initially learned through Nick Peterson, who I'd highly recommend you guys check out on Facebook, Instagram, etc. Brilliant business guy. But it doesn't necessarily matter what form you take to close the gap in the quickest way, right? Like it might be, hey, if I need to make an extra 5K this month, it doesn't necessarily mean I got to close, 1 or 3 more clients, like new clients this month. It might actually mean going back to my previous clients and asking them, hey, where are you at now? Can I help you with something else? It might mean setting up a continuity program, like just a simple membership for the people already there. It might mean, throwing up a webinar that you charge X amount for to your current email list. Like it's not always the thing that we believe or think we should be doing because the marketer told us to do it, right? That is why stabilizing is this constant ongoing refinement piece, okay? Next aspect of stabilizing is the active element, okay? So clearing and processing the drama that inevitably comes up as we go forward and do our thing. So as we're doing whatever it is we're putting out, as we're executing on our plan, as we're testing to see whether the thing we wanted actually is, whether the way that we wanted to make 10K months was actually the way that we wanted to do it, there is going to be drama that comes up. And when I say drama, I don't necessarily mean, Jerry Springer pops up, though sometimes internally, I think it does work out that way. What I mean by drama is anytime you go through something new, anytime you want to up level, there is going to be that resistance that comes up, right? Stephen Pressfield talks about this in The War of Art. And it's a concept that I use in the actual 10K Norm program, where anytime we want to level up, there is an element of resistance that pops up, right? However you want to think about it, and it's not the episode to go into deeper in this, but like your ego self, your primal self does not like change, right? Because any change is a threat to survival because it's not proven to keep you alive, whereas the things you have been doing, even if they've not had the consequences that you like, have kept you alive, right? You're not going to die with one cigarette. You're not going to die with one cupcake. It doesn't matter that those things are going to kill you long term. They're not going to kill you right now. So anyway, when it comes to that resistance that pops up, your ability to navigate that is your ability to navigate the drama that comes up. So as you are doing the passive work to normalize and the passive work to see what needs to get done to stabilize 10K month incomes, you also have to do the day-to-day work to kind of maintain that hygiene, right? The thought hygiene, the emotional management, to navigate that drama that inevitably comes up as a result of that resistance. So a big part of stabilizing is actually, again, the inner work of what you practice day to day. Okay. And finally, there is the refining the path as reality gives you feedback. So this is what we talked about at the beginning, where it's okay to change your mind. If I do, 3 lives and I can conclude that I hate the aspect of doing lives, not that I'm scared of it, but I don't like doing this. I actually really can be in the flow when I write. Great. Reality has just told you that your natural disposition is one where you prefer writing. Awesome. Go all in on writing and write the best possible resources that you can to attract the clients that you need. Okay. So it is in this aspect where we're refining the path based on the feedback that reality gives us that marketing tactics actually begin to make sense, because now you can use a marketing principle. You know your natural disposition. Now it's a matter of not how do I fit myself into this marketing tactic. It's how do I use the marketing principle to do the thing that I'm naturally prone to doing, that I like doing, that I'm the best at, that is my strength, that I can be in flow, that I can be creative, that I can have inspiration flow into it. That is where you're going to get those multiplicative effects. That is where you're going to get the traction. That is where you can show up even, when you quote unquote don't feel like it. Okay, that is going to be the consistency piece that you can maintain, not something that you should be doing because that's what worked for somebody else, or that's what you're told is the way to do it. Okay, so again, just like normalizing, right, which was all about realizing that you need the thought management, the feeling management, the focus management, and aligning those to actually normalize 10K months. So essentially what you think, do, and feel every single day. Stabilizing is putting those things to the test in reality, seeing what the feedback is, and continuing to refine yourself and your thought and feeling management to move past the drama that comes up. Okay. So that's how you want to think about these things as you go forward, right? That's why the 10K Norm program is designed in such a way to get you to practice the inner work more, so that the outside work, the marketing tactics, in many ways, they don't take care of themselves in the sense that you don't have to think about them. You do, you have to execute, but they actually become the fun part of all of the inner work that you actually do. Okay. All right. So the final part, and if you are watching this on YouTube, or if you have the worksheet and video versions that you can download at 10knorm.com, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But if you are on the podcast, then what I have to finish this off is unlikely stabilizing questions. So it is a chart with 3 columns, where in column number 1, we have what is the quote unquote objective needed to move me forward. Okay, we have the second column, which is what's the drama standing in the way. And then we have the third prompt, so third column, which is, am I playing the right game to move forward? So why these questions? Why are they unlikely stabilizing questions? And what does this have to do with marketing? As we've just discussed, and as was in the previous episode on normalizing, a lot of the reason why we don't have 10K months as coaches is simply because we get in our own way. So in the normalizing episode, I talk about you have the math, which is pretty simple to get to 10K months, right? I need 5 people at a 2K program. I need 2 people at a 5K program. I know that I close 1 out of 5. So that means I need 5 qualified people to speak to, which means I got to reach out to at least, 15, and on and on and on. And there's actually a worksheet as a bonus to this, which I'll talk about at the end. Again, you can download it at 10knorm.com. As far as this particular sheet and the question, so you don't, you can just kind of walk through these in your mind. I recommend downloading the worksheet to actually go through this in more detail. But what you'll find is that first column. So what is the objective, quote unquote, needed to move me forward? This basically means not objective as like, a military objective, but what is the things that I can measure that I need to move forward? I.e., if I remove the drama, what's left? So the math, like what are the numbers that I need to hit? Okay, so every single month so far, I'm making 5K for my coaching. Okay, so I need 5K more. What did I do to get that 5K consistent? Great, how can I do more of that? Okay, that would be a math problem. Like I just need more reps in that particular piece, right? The strategy, I'm going to do this many reach outs. I'm going to create this much content. The consistency of the execution. So how often do I do the things that I say that I'm going to do? That is what goes in the objective column. Okay. What's the drama standing in the way? So this is where you take a look at the things that can potentially get you to where you want to go. And notice I didn't say what you're supposed to do. I don't know what you're supposed to, especially without talking to you. But I think most people, in fact, 99% of people have enough self-awareness to at least have the next step. So I would encourage you and invite you to just assume you know the next step and the objective pieces that go into it. Now you ask yourself the even more important question, which is part of that refining of the inner game, which is part of the stabilizing equation. What's the drama that's standing in the way? The doubts, the fear, the overanalysis, the procrastination, the what I call the I don't know, the how, the trying quicksand. And why is that quicksand? Because like I can try to pick something up, and if I pick it up, if I don't pick it up, trying is true. Right? I don't know how. Okay, so you just throw your hands up and I don't know how. Like it's done. It is almost binary. But if the answer, and Brooke Steele from the Life Coach School talks about this quite a bit, the answer to how is yes. No, like yes, I do know something. Like I can, like no matter what, if you're talking about marketing, you literally can right now reach out to a stranger on any social media platform that is remotely within your niche or niche if you're not from Canada, and simply like ask them, do you want my thing? Like I'm not saying that's going to be the path towards 10K months, but it is absolutely something you can do. Okay. So I don't know how is just more drama coming up. Okay. This is rooted in something deeper, and that's beyond the scope of this video. And certainly there's ways to go through that, but what is the drama that's standing in the way of your objective thing? Okay. This drama also includes the flow element. And what do I mean by the flow element? Okay. Many of us as coaches have a spiritual inclination, whether as a practice, whether it's intuition that we use in coaching, whether it's something that just we spend a lot of time learning about. There is an element of that in most of the coaches, at least that are in my world, because it is something that I also believe in. So when that topic of spirituality and flow comes up, there's usually this debate, this kind of antagonizing relationship between planning in the masculine aspects of work and then the feminine flow of inspiration. In my opinion, it is when they cohesively work together that they work together the best. Okay? I think it is a story to say that I need to be inspired all the time in order to actually execute. I think that is a self-defeating, not empowering story, because you're actually putting the onus of your connection to that, infinite intelligence, that source, whatever, on circumstance. Like, I don't know where inspiration is going to strike. So I'm just going to do whatever until then. And obviously you have that choice, and that works great for some people. I'm going for what works most consistently, if it does for you. And again, rooted in reality. Like I can proven results that show that this actually works consistently for me to get me the things that I want. Great. Like go for it. And And then obviously you have the opposite, which is like, I do everything on the plan and I never even think about inspiration. I think they're two sides of the same coin, both of which are rooted in resistance. The merging in the middle is where I think that the drama work actually is the best to like get to actually what it is that you want. So what I mean by this is, and I believe, again, this is a quote from the War of Art book, but it's like, and I think it was Stephen Pressfield like actually quoting somebody else, but he basically says like, I don't know when like the muse is going to strike, but I know it'll be at 9 a.m. in the morning. So how does that make sense? So what he's saying is he sits down at 9 a.m. to do the work and fight through resistance. Whether that means he writes 100 shitty words or whether that he writes 100 like amazing words, that's not relevant. Like his job is to show up and to do that, to stay rooted in that aspect of reality, to stay rooted in that aspect of what he does consistently day to day. What day the muse actually comes to give him the amazing words is not up to him. What's up to him is the showing up. Okay? This is what I invite you to consider if one of your drama stories is, I don't like to work from a plan. You don't have to stay rigid to it. That's why we talk about stabilizing is I always check into the passive elements. Is this still aligned with me? Is this still what I want? I've done this. Is this really what I want to continue to do and experience? The answer is no. You can refine the plan. But you got to realize flow, even in creative endeavor, always comes from the experiences that you're having, which is essentially action, right? If I'm a painter, I have to paint for the painting inspiration to come. If I'm a coach who wants to show up authentically on social media, I have to show up on social media for that inspiration to have some sort of channel to go through. So when it is that you're thinking about, hey, I don't want to like overstructure my life, great. Recognize that rigidity is different than structure. You don't need to, I have to post 5 times a week. You might not, right? But you do have to consistently post. So the question then becomes, how much of that story is drama? How much of that is actually just disposition and like you know yourself best and how and when to get into the flow, right? You can set up the circumstances to make flow happen. Getting out of the way of that is working through the drama, but not showing up, in my opinion, even for the sake of flow and inspiration, is drama itself. So that's just something I invite you to process on your own. And that's why you have these 2 columns, right? So going back to the worksheet now, you got the objective on the one column. Right beside it is the drama. Work through that. And then the piece that ties it all together is, am I playing the right game to actually move forward? So this is where you can begin to truly ask yourself, am I having stories about flow? Am I having stories that drive me in that, I don't know, quicksand where I just freeze and stop? And more importantly, am I doing the things day to day to work through the real issue, right? Is my issue the objective? Like I show up consistently 3 days per week and I do the thing I need to do and it's not getting me the result. Okay, great. Then all I really need to do then just show up 5 times a week now. That'll likely drive a better result. But if objectively I show up 3 times one week and then I show up nothing the next week, and I show up once, then I show up twice, then I show up 4 times, now you can look at it and be like, okay, well, that's inconsistent. The math tells a story rooted in reality. What's the drama that's standing in the way, right? Now it's what's the internal story? How am I handling my emotion? What are the thoughts that I'm having? How am I transmuting and clearing these? And we're going to have lots of episodes coming up on that. And again, if you want more details on that, go to 10knorm.com. But that last column now allows you to really be honest and in many ways prompt yourself to coach yourself. Okay? So that's it for the big pieces of stabilizing. Both of these, so normalizing, which we had in the last episode, and this one is very high level. We're going to be going a lot more detailed as this channel and podcast grows. So what I recommend right now is you can go to 10knorm.com to download the worksheet of this. There's also going to be a bonus training on there. It's a full video that gives you the worksheet. So it's a Google Sheets file that just walks you through, okay, how do I stay consistent with the conversations that I'm having? How do I know if I close at this rate, then how do I, how many people do I actually need to speak to, right? You don't have to follow it exactly, but it gives you a framework based in numbers, based in the things you're going to have to do anyway, to just work through, okay, these are the objective pieces. And then I can stay rooted in reality with that and then work through the drama afterwards. All right. That's that for today. Enjoy the rest of your day.